And what I've learned is that no matter what you do, Jenna, people will always have something to say. And do you really want to look back and say, I never did it because of XYZ's opinion?
So, welcome to my podcast. Thank you so much, Josiely, for spending some time with me today.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor.
I love you, girl, you know.
Yeah, same.
So, I am excited to dive in a little bit more about who you are, kind of your journey towards your awakening, what that was like for you, and then spend a little bit of time also getting into the work that you're doing now because
Yes.
you're moving some pretty big mountains over there.
Yes. Yes.
So, if you can start us out, give me a little bit of what life was like leading up to your awakening.
Whew. And I just know you're going to make me cry. So I'm just going to put it out there because I already know it. So before my awakening, I was in a very dark space. I used to have a lot of anxiety, panic attacks. I used to fear death, had this big fear of death. But I knew that it was something much bigger than that, that it wasn't just like, okay, I'm going to die. It was like, I am going to die and I'm not going to fulfill my mission here. Like, I knew I was not doing the things that I was supposed to be doing. I was out of alignment. That's the best way that I can put it now. My days really consisted of me trying to shut off my brain. And that, how I would do that was by consuming a lot of alcohol or surrounding myself with a lot of people. Like I never wanted to be alone. So any invitation that I got, I would accept it just because I could not sit down with my own thoughts, with this own darkness. Until I just ran into this wall and I'm like, I am the problem and I need to fix this. If I am given more days to live, how am I going to make them count? What am I going to do to get the life that I want with the days that I have? Because I felt like I only had days, Jenna. So when I began awakening, I then stopped drinking alcohol. I gave up meat. I was giving up so much, so many things, people, places, things, and it leads to where I am now. So a whole transformation, literally from a cocoon to a butterfly. That is the best way that I can put it.
Wow. I find it interesting that you say this started with a fear of dying or a fear of death,
Yes.
because it's not always necessarily that fear, but it's always the darkness or that kind of rock bottom that
Yes.
then begins, the catapult upward. But for somebody that's so young, you were what, in your 20s when you were
Yes.
experiencing this?
Yes. Early 20s.
And it was just innately in you, or was there any sort of triggers around that caused that belief or that, excuse me, that fear?
So it was my cousin dying, and he died at a really young age. He didn't even get to turn 18. But looking at it now, had God done it in any other way, I wouldn't have paid attention. Had I had my heart broken, had I been fired, had whatever it was, I wouldn't have continued the path and I wouldn't have gotten to where I am now. Why? Because I would have just brushed it off. I would have drank it off. But when you have this big fear of death and it's in you every moment and it's eating at you, it's like, okay, well, if I'm not dying, what am I gonna do? But with everything else, I feel like again, I would have just brushed it off. So my cousin's death, me that hitting me so hard, that regret that I had, because up until then I was living my life recklessly. But I realized that when he died, I'm like, my only regret right now is that I never got to tell him I love him. And because I didn't get to tell him how much I loved him, and I felt like he didn't know that, I'm like, I cannot go on with whatever I have, not telling people that I love them, not doing the things that I said that I would do. And I'm not saying that
Mm.
it happened right away, but again, it was slow. It was a lot of fear, a lot of darkness that I had to live through. But that was the best way that my soul could have sat me down and gotten me to where I am now.
Yeah. Wow. So you started out, it sounds like, wanting to tell everybody else you love them, wanting to give love to everyone else.
Yes.
How, if you can tell me a little bit more detail, how did it go from that, wanting to give love, to now being able to receive love? Because everything you do is all revolved around self love and
Yes.
sharing that with others. So if you could dive in a little deeper to that.
So my entire life consisted of me putting up walls. I rejected love in every single capacity, not just in relationships, not just in friendships. I feel like I was making it hard to be loved because I had this fear of abandonment. So if I didn't show myself, if you didn't love me, then you couldn't leave me, you couldn't hurt me. But when he died, and it was slowly because I continued to push people away, but I'm like, that's my biggest regret, not telling him the words I love him because I didn't grow up on that. And growing up, we were just accustomed to sharing love in different ways. And I didn't understand that people love and give and receive love in different ways. So in my mind, up until he died, I thought that I was living correctly. I didn't have to tell him that I loved him, right? But then when he wasn't there, I was like, oh, I can't let this happen again. So how am I going to break this wall so that I can start to tell people that I love them? And Jenna, it's made so many people around me uncomfortable. From a simple thing as a hug, a simple thing as a compliment. You will realize that a lot of us reject love, that it wasn't just me. There's people till this day that I say I love you and I can see how their body like clenches. And I'm like, I don't care because I don't want to regret that. So I'm gonna make you uncomfortable and I'm gonna tell you. Obviously appropriately, but I've had to fight that through to get to where I am at, to not be on the end of like pushing still people away.
Yes. And I love that you brought up the the root of it is that people cannot receive love. So many people don't know how.
Yes, that is true.
Because you could have taken those moments and taken it personal or made excuses or I don't know, somehow done what I feel like most people do and blame yourself.
Hmm.
But
Like
you
it must
could,
be a me thing. But when you
yes.
start doing the work and you start realizing that we're just all little children, hurt children at that. And that it's not that they don't want love, is that they're scared. Well, what happens if I let you in? That means that if I let you in, you're going to hurt me, you're going to leave me. And I had to go through that so that I can be able to see that in people. And now I'm like, no, I'm gonna make you uncomfortable because what if you die and I didn't get the chance to say I love you?
So is it safe to say that your motivation for giving love was so strong because you didn't want to go back to that fear?
Yes. Because Jenna, you can text somebody, you can call somebody, and you can start brand new. But when someone dies and they're no longer here, and you're just stuck with the, did this person know that I love them? You don't have the answer. So I'm like, no, from this moment on, we're gonna do the right thing. And even if people leave me, even if it doesn't work out, even if whatever happens, as long as you know that I loved you, that's all that matters to me. And even if, and I do it uncomfortably, because sometimes I'm like, so I want to put myself out there, because you have that rejection fear too. I'm like, I don't care, because I'm not repeating that lesson.
Mm. So many thoughts around this.
Hmm.
Looking back though at that moment, because of how you were living up until then, do you feel like this was kind of the first time you heard your soul speak to you and not your conditioning or your programming?
I think my soul was trying to speak to me way back when, but because I was taking so many actions against my soul, against my intuition, against what I knew, because maybe there was fear there. Maybe because of that fear of I'm meant for bigger and I was scared. I didn't act on it. So because my soul was there trying to push me, to align me, and I would reject it, it was like we have to send you this big wake up call. And then that's when I started listening and taking in pieces like, okay, and following the little trails that your soul leaves because all our souls are a GPS. And if you tune in, it will literally take you from point A to Z. But you just have to listen. So that's literally what my soul had been doing, but I was like missing all the exits. I was not the driver of my car, Jenna. Literally, like I felt like my ego was in control, and then my soul was like, well, We're never going to get to where we need to get to. You're not going
Hmm.
to become who you need to become unless we like crash.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that because sometimes it's well more than not, it's not soft and loving, and it's not like this gentle little, ferry ride over to awakening and, living the purpose that you're meant to live. It's a little shattering.
Yes, it is. Because I feel like we all kind of need that rock bottom, and rock bottom looks different for all of us. Some of us do need the heartbreak. Some of us do need the loss. Some of us do need to get fired to awaken up. And it doesn't happen when you're happy because you feel like your entire life is put together and you don't have to listen to your soul, because everything seems joyful. But
Hmm.
when you have nowhere else to go, nowhere else to steer, like you literally tow your car, that is when you start paying attention and you're like, I need to get myself out and I need to take control so that this does not happen again.
Wow. So fast forward from then to you starting your podcast. What happened with life? What shifted in life?
I think slowly I started answering the call. Slowly I started leaving old habits that weren't serving me and just like steering into alignment and what felt good for me. And after the awakening, I'm not going to say that it was all roses because, as you know, it's a roller coaster. And like I tell you, sometimes I'm like, if I would have just stood asleep, I wouldn't have to go through that. But when I started my podcast, that's when I started awakening even more because that's when I started realizing, well, now I have to tell these stories. But why am I telling these stories? Why did XYZ happen to me? And that's when I started connecting the dots like, oh, that makes sense. That was the pattern. That was the lesson that I had to repeat to get me to here. Because if I didn't go through that, if I didn't learn from that, then I wouldn't be able to use my voice and to tell people about my stories. So literally just finding out that everything is connected, that everything aligns.
Wow. So I'm going to just throw it in there and we'll repeat it again. But Where Are Joe and the Curls is the name of the podcast.
Yes.
So I'm curious, share with me what it was like for you because you mentioned already you knew you had a bigger purpose. You
Yes.
knew that there was something bigger, right? And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that have so much to share, that have a wealth of, hidden knowledge, hidden wisdom, or all of these different life purposes that we come onto this planet with. How did you recognize what your mission was with starting this podcast? And maybe it will change in the future because you do have a
Yeah.
lot of other things coming, but what was that kind of telltale sign like, I have to share this?
I think it's funny because had you known me way back when I was in school, I hated public speaking. I hated it, Jenna. Like I would want to throw up. It would make me sick.
You know, that's the number one fear in the world.
Yes, public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I was so afraid. I was because of my accent, because of this. But when I started speaking more, when I started creating the podcast, even now I'm like, oh, I'm going through this not because of me. I'm going through this for the podcast. But that's only one part of it. Then you start meeting people, you start going places, you start living through things, and you're like, wait, this is so much bigger than me. This is not just about me. This is about everyone, the collective. And that's how it was with the podcast. Now that I want to write a book, it's just different things that led me here. But because I took that fear and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let you keep me safe because that's what it is. We want to keep ourselves safe. So in starting the podcast, pushing past the fear of public speaking, that's when I started discovering my mission, my purpose. And I think for so long, we just go in search of purpose. We're trying to do something so much bigger. But literally, I feel like the purpose is just to live. And when you're living, when you're in alignment, when you're doing the things that fill you up, that bring you the most joy, that is when you discover your mission. It comes to you, it literally finds you because you go creating it. So yeah, so I'm just excited to see. We'll start with the podcast. Now we're doing like a nonprofit. I need to write this book. But just so much has come out of just me stepping forward and not living in fear.
Yes. Oh. And so if you're listening to this or watching this right now, go on Josiely's channel, Where Are Joe and the Curls podcast, because you share
Yes.
what you just did in DR. Can you
Yes,
tell us a little bit more about that in case people are not familiar with that? Because this was huge.
of course. So 4 years ago, I was randomly sitting down and I get this idea of helping children in DR, give them school supplies. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna follow the calling. I gathered up a small team and we sent out a box full of school supplies. Fast forward, it just keeps growing to this year. Oh, I got goosebumps. This year, Jenna, we were able to do 3 events. We served over 90 children. We gave them book bags, we gave them school supplies, we gave them toys. And that's what it's about. That it's more than a podcast, it's a whole mission. And it's just more than me. It's bigger than me just picking up a mic. It's about me serving other people. And I think God always knew that I was meant to do so much, something so much bigger than me. But I ran because I knew. And then that's where that fear of dying kicked in. That I'm like, well, if I leave today, I didn't accomplish anything on my list. So now, the goal is to keep expanding it.
Oh, I love this. I love everything about you. And I love your accent too, by the way. You threw
I
that
think,
out there. There's always something that we have in the back of our heads that no one else sees or hears or thinks of. But I just have to give you all the love because you're doing such big things and such
thank you.
incredible things. And you're so mission driven, which I appreciate so much about you. And you also gave them hugs, not just backpacks and supplies.
Yes,
The
it was,
love in those photos that you have on your social media, it's indescribable. You could feel it through the screen, honestly.
yes, it's something that I want to continue to do for the rest of my life because the way that it just fills me up, I know that it wasn't about me, that it was about them, but just sharing that moment with them. Ah, Jenna is so priceless.
Yes. So do you have this nonprofit in the works, or is this
Yes.
established yet?
It's not established yet, but it's in the work. I'm going to turn it into a foundation. That is the goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So once all that's in place, please let me know all the details and I'll come back and I'll link all the things under this
Yes, of
video.
course. Of
Yes.
course.
Um, One other thing that you just made me think of is, you mentioned this, feeling like you're running out of time or, and someone might look at you and say, oh, you're so young or whatever it may be. But there was a study that I read years ago that were given to people at the end of life. And I imagine they were much older, in their
Mhm.
senior
Yes.
years. But essentially it was this woman who worked in like end of life care, and she went around asking all of her patients what their biggest regret was in life, and all of them said something along the lines of they regretted living for others as opposed to living for themselves.
Woo! Yes.
And so to feel that at such a young age, I almost feel like it wasn't you like running out of time.
Mhm.
It's like we need to get started on our mission. Like we
Yeah.
got some work to do over here. And so anyone listening to this right now, it's a big message, regardless of what lane you feel like you are best to serve in.
Yes.
We have to get started on these missions. Like this is we get many lives, but we want to make the most of this
Yes.
one that we're in now, right?
Just I don't want to come back. You bring up so many good points. And that's one of the things that I just finished working through, a limiting belief that I just had to kill. And it was living for other people. Jenna, my entire life, I've been put on these rules and these limiting beliefs and just things that people told me that I picked up on. The question of kids, the question of a husband, the question of graduating school, this, that, or just the fear of what are people going to think. And what I've learned is that no matter what you do, no matter what you do, Jenna, people will always have something to say. And do you really want to look back and say, I never did it because of XYZ's opinion? Like that doesn't even make sense. So you're gonna stop your mission, stop your purpose because you think people are going to make fun of you. And what I've learned is this, they're just projecting. So no matter what they say, That's how they feel about themselves. So you're going to stop yourself because someone else might think this about you. And that's how I was living. Well, they're going to make fun of me. So what? Let them. Because my mission is so much bigger than that. And I promise you, people who are making fun of you are people at the bottom. Because when you start doing the work, you notice that people at the top, people who want more for themselves, are applauding you, are not competing with you, are sharing opportunities.
It's so
So
true.
you can't let the opinions of others stop you. Because no matter what you do, you will be judged.
100%. Yes, I agree with you. It's never the person with the six pack abs that are like looking at you and saying, "Oh, you got some work to do." It's always
Yeah.
the people that are a little bit
Yes.
lower.
Yes, because they're literally just projecting onto you what they feel. So you're really going to let them stop you? No.
Yes. And so you mentioned limiting beliefs, which
Mm.
I love beliefs. Belief
Yes.
systems are my jam.
Yes.
So, what have you noticed about as you are kind of weeding out these limiting beliefs? I feel like you're soaring higher and higher and higher.
Yes.
What does it feel like on your end?
Feel like a
Yes.
Jenna, I feel so aligned. I feel so connected with myself. I feel like I'm in my seat. I feel like I'm the driver. I'm not letting nobody else drive. I have my GPS and I know where I'm going, right? And it took so long to just unlearn all those beliefs. The belief of not being good enough, the fear of being seen, the fear of being abandoned, the fear of being rejected. There's so many things that we pick up as a child that we bring into adulthood. And once you start, you just start laughing at yourself because you're like, I believe that. I bought into that programming. Oh, I was doing that to please other people. It doesn't even make sense.
It's silly when you're on the outside.
Yes, I think I was having a conversation with you and I told you that one of my limiting beliefs had just ended, which was the belief that I needed applause or that I needed external validation, to like let me know or confirm that I'm on the right track. This is a mission between me and God. Only God and I can validate what we know, what we decided on. And if you sit and wait for other people to tell you that you're doing a good job, you're going to be waiting forever. Because one, if they see that you're doing good, they're not going to applaud you. They're going to start probably applauding you at the beginning. But once you start taking off, that's going to die. Why? Because people are in secret competitions. And it's scary. It's sad because we can all win. So
Yes.
if you stop and you're waiting for people to tell you you're doing a good job, if you're waiting for people to support you, if you're waiting for people to notice you, you're never going to start. So why not? Why not take the risk?
Yes. I love that you just said that we can all win. We can all win.
Yes. And that's one of the programs that we buy into, that competition. That if you bought a car, I can't buy a car. There's millions of cars. There's infinite amount of money, but we're taught to compete. Why? We can all win and we're all so different and we all can do, like you said, like nobody's gonna do your coaching the way that you do, Jenna. We both have a podcast. We're both so different.
Yeah.
We
And
all put that competition doesn't exist.
it's so true. And if you're in it for the right reasons, like you are in it for the right reasons, all we care about is that people hear the message they need to hear.
Yes.
And maybe they're meant to move on to several different places, but we are all connected and we all need to lift one another up. So whether it's your voice that resonates, my voice that resonates, like whoever's voice that resonates, I don't
Mhm.
care.
Yeah.
Just come into the positivity wagon,
Yes.
like
Yes.
let's create our lives.
Yes.
Let's do some good stuff over
Yes.
here.
Yes. But unfortunately, everyone's not like that. And it's things that we're taught. But it takes for you to wake up and realize, okay, this is what's going on, and I'm not buying into it.
Yeah.
You shining doesn't take away from my shine. Me applauding you doesn't take away from me.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And with, algorithms and social media, and I haven't actually watched the social experiment, but I feel like I've heard enough about it to
Mhm.
know that basically they've proved that it's the negative things that people post that get more interactions, more likes,
Mhm.
more hearts, all of that kind of stuff. But it's us that are, we're the ones posting things. We're the ones hitting like. why not at least take that extra second to think before you react? Because that's all that
Yes.
is reactions, right? There's no thought in reacting as opposed to responding.
Yes. But we're not all here to elevate, unfortunately, right? So
You're right.
they keep us in lower states through these lower negative entertainment.
So what's your best advice to reach for something higher? Because it's much better up here.
Yes, shut it off.
Shut it
Watch
off.
what you
Just
say, watch what you listen to, watch what you read, watch how you spend your time. The news is meant to keep you in this low, fearing state. The entertainment world is just basically there to keep you in anger, in fear, in competition. You're competing for love. You're competing for all these things that make no sense. But once you awaken, you're like, yeah, no, I'm not participating in that. Is that fueling me? What am I going to learn from that? And I'm not saying that it's all, about healing and learning and stuff, but it's like, what are you taking in? What are you teaching your mind? Because our subconscious is always on, just carrying these things. And half of the time, a lot of people are just upset. And they don't even realize that they're upset because of something that they heard in the news, something that they were listening to, a friend who they were hanging out with. So when you start dialing into your own body and seeing how your body reacts to certain things, you just start shutting it all off. You're like, yeah, I don't want to watch this person mute. I'm not going to tune into this channel, but you have to wake up.
it's like a detox.
Yeah.
So, how do you start your day, or what are some practices that you've acquired? Because you've done so much inner work, right? You've
Yeah.
mentioned belief systems, you've mentioned emotion, you've mentioned, um, you know, feeding yourself or choosing good forms of entertainment, positive forms of entertainment. So, what are some practices that you've put into place that have helped you along the way?
I try to. I'm not saying that I get this perfectly because this is what we've been working on, a better morning routine. But I usually try to listen to personal development. I try to listen to Jim Rohn, Joe Dispenza early in the morning as I'm getting ready. Or I put high beat music. Nothing that is talking about negativity, no cursing, no anger, because that's the energy that I want to come into my day with. I try to work out. I've been trying because I just came over my insomnia phase. I wasn't sleeping well. So I'm trying to get back to working out. Definitely journaling too has helped. Just practicing gratitude. The morning pages, like I told you before, where you just wake up and you're literally just releasing all your thoughts on paper. And then that helps you because as you navigate the day, everything just feels so much lighter, so much freer.
So you start your journaling earlier in the day as opposed to at night.
Yes. Unless
Awesome.
I'm going through something and I'm like, oh, let me go journal about this. I'm in gratitude. Let me go write this out too. But usually it's in the morning.
Beautiful. I tend to do mine at night just because of all I'm always running around. But
Hmm.
I want to kind of try it out during the morning if I can manage it
You'll see
and
how
see if
you'll
there's a
start
shift.
with a clear mind. Because you literally forcing yourself just to write anything, just and then your mind, you're literally listening to your mind just write whatever, and you're like, I was thinking that, I was feeling that, and then your day literally just becomes lighter because you don't have that pressure or all those thoughts. Because a lot of people do overthink. So if you
Yeah,
get that out the way in the morning, your day is clear.
I love that. That's a great tip.
Hmm.
I feel like I keep telling everyone to journal lately, and then it's coming up now, obviously for a reason.
Yes.
But it's a practice that I feel like is so subtle and so powerful. And it's spoken about, but yet everyone's not still doing it.
Hmm.
So here's that invitation.
Yes, to journal, to buy a journal. A lot
Yes.
of people like it on their phone. I don't. I need my pen.
Well,
I
it's
like the
different.
scribble. Yeah.
Yes. And it's also different places in your brain being touched when you are putting a pen or a pencil to paper.
Yes,
But you also read a lot.
I do. I try to.
Do you have any recommendations? Anything that you've read recently that you feel would be helpful?
Yes. So my top recommendation is The Alchemist. I love that book. Why? Because it just teaches you that one, when you have a dream, the entire world is going to conspire in your favor. That means you're going to win. There's a reason why you have that dream. And in the, oh, I got goosebumps. And in the journey of going after your treasure, going after your dream, you're going to discover so much about yourself. And it's going to bring you to the start. And then you're going to realize why everything happens for a reason and why you went through all of it. So that's one book that I really love. A book that really shook me to my core that I have to reread is Journey of Souls. And because whether you believe in it or not, it talks about afterlife and your past life, and it makes you question your entire existence. It says that we choose our family, we choose our lovers, we choose our friends, we choose our body. And when you come to understand that you chose this body, you one start treating it better, but two, you just start questioning everything. And then you just start awakening and you don't become the victim anymore because we love to blame other people, you know? But once you take control, you take your power back and you're like, what role did I play in this? And what are you here to teach me? What do I have to learn? How can I grow from this? Your entire life changes. So, Journey of Souls, whether you believe in it or not, is my number one recommendation after The Alchemist.
I've never read The Alchemist, believe it or not. I know that I think I need to.
It's my favorite book.
There might be a lot of reminders in there because of other, I feel like it's referenced in so many other
Yes.
pieces of work that I've read, but it's like an OG up there.
Yes.
I need to read it.
Yes. Please do so.
And Journey of Souls, I think right after you read that book was when you and I connected.
Yes, Jenna, because I was on Instagram just searching my whole life away. I needed to know the why. I wanted to know everything. But again, that was like my second awakening. That's when like God really pushed me deeper and I was just questioning my entire life. That was like the second phase. And then we
Okay.
met and then we've been working ever since.
And I love you so much.
I love you
I'm so
more.
thankful to have you in my life. Talk about gratitude.
Seriously.
You are doing such beautiful things. And we didn't even get started on all of the places that you've been to, all of the countries you visited. I mean, there's so many layers to you.
Yeah. That you don't
Like,
even know what to talk about.
because there's so much. But I'm just so happy to have you on here because I feel like you exude such positivity and your energy is just magnetic. Like people want to be around you. It's true. It's true. And then what you're saying, like once you open your mouth, you're like, oh shoot, this girl, she knows like she knows her stuff. You let
Experience. Whew.
experience, yes.
Mhm.
So it's just you're just such a beautiful soul.
Thank you.
And I mean that. I really mean that. So
So are you, though. That's why we connected. Our frequencies matched.
so how many countries have you been to? Because every time I think about you traveling, I can't help but go to you being in front of the pyramids and
Ooh.
watching you standing there looking like a goddess in front of the great pyramid of Giza.
Yes. Whew. So I've been to 30 countries. I still don't know how I did it. I literally spent all of my 20s just traveling. And now God is like, now you sit down. But 30 countries, I highly recommend Thailand.
Thailand. Why Thailand?
I think Thailand has all in one. It's spiritual, it's party. I did it by myself. And that's where I really found myself. That was the beginning. Oh, that was the beginning of another start of me. Thailand opened me up to so many things that if you can travel the world, if you can go that far by yourself, there's literally nothing that you can't do. So Thailand literally just opened me up to like my second becoming.
Wow.
And Egypt, since you mentioned Egypt, Egypt helped me open up my voice. I was a little bit confident, but Egypt gave me that push. Egypt said, we're going to remind you, we're going to help you remember why you came here. And because of Egypt, that's when I started speaking up more. So each country has taught me something different, you know? It's beautiful to see that we're we're all connected and we're all similar, and that there's so much love in the world. I live in New York City, Jenna, in case your listeners don't know, and it's a harsh city. And if you grew up here, you grow up with this mind that almost everyone else is the same, that wherever you go, that's what you're going to encounter. And when you go abroad, despite the news channels, because New York City is more dangerous than any country I've been to, you come to see how loving people are. You come to see that there's so much out there and there's just so much to do, so much to experience, so much to learn, not only about yourself, but about other people. And the further you go, just the more you just never want to come back.
Wow. I remember the experience that you shared. I would love if you could share just briefly that interaction that you had in Newark Airport
Which one?
with the TSA worker. Because you're always spreading love, I feel like. You're
That she was
always,
nice to me and I was so
yes,
surprised.
yes.
So I get to Newark Airport and usually I'm always late. I'm like always running through security. And I'm just expecting them. Like this is me just I'm like they're gonna give me an attitude just your luggage is overweight because that's another thing that I'm always late and my luggage is always overweight. And she was so nice to me, Jenna, and I was like I have to tell her something. And I was like, I'm sorry. I need to tell you this, but you are so friendly. I'm like, you're the first person that I encounter here who's really nice. And she's like, well, it's because we're usually prepared. How I was telling you earlier, we just have this wall up. She's like, we get so many different people here and that we just expect everybody to be rude. But when you look at the world that way, and I know that I was joining her, when you look at the world that way, that's what you get. But when you come in with positive, no matter how your day is going, you just literally start noticing how kind and loving people can really be. So yeah.
But do you feel like you've noticed that people treat you different at the vibration that you're on now?
Yes. And people I'm gonna say before because now I've stopped hanging around with a lot of people, but and before, let's say I'll have my favorite coffee shop. I have an addictive personality. So if I like something and I like your service, I don't care how it is, I'm gonna keep going. So I have this coffee shop and I would always go and the servers were always kind to me. And I noticed one day that I brought in this friend and the service changed. Nothing changed because it's my favorite coffee shop. The same servers are there. So what happened? That's when I realized not only do people treat you according to your energy, they treat you according to who you're surrounded with. And that's when I began to be more mindful. And speaking of traveling, I went to Thailand by myself. And the experience that I got there, what I lived there by myself was completely different than the people who I went to Thailand with. That I felt like I was in a different country. So not only does your energy affect how people treat you, but the people who you're surrounded with also have an impact on your experience and how you're treated. So please be very mindful.
That's important. I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah.
I remember as a little girl, my grandmother always saying, "You are the company you keep."
Yes. And I always dismiss that. Like, show me who your five friends are. I used to dismiss that because I'm like, well, if Sally is doing XYZ, that doesn't mean I have to do that. No, it's very real. Why?
Hmm.
Because Jenna, there's one thing that I can come to you and I can tell you, Jenna, I'm gonna write this book. You're going to encourage me because that's who you are, Jenna. But if I come to somebody else, they might be like, oh, are you sure? They might put in doubts. When you were already maybe like, let's say, what if you were excited about it, but you were still feeling doubtful? They'll bring that more doubt into it.
It's
And
true.
you just start picking up on their language, on their energy, and that's literally who you become. You are literally the sum of your five closest friends. So you have to be very, very mindful who you share your energy with.
Oh, I feel like that's one episode in itself, just
Yes.
all about that. But we'll just leave it as a seed planted for right now.
Yes.
But it is important because, like you said, even if they say that they're happy for you or they're saying that they're excited, energy never lies. You could feel it.
Yes.
And it is important that we surround ourselves with people that help to lift us up or help bring the best version of ourselves out.
Yes. That don't keep you in lower states. Because it's so much easier to like get lost in what everybody else is doing. But when you know yourself and you surround yourself with higher people who want more, you wake up differently. Like you wake up ready to tackle the world. That you have people pushing you. But that's when they're not really there, they're just there to for the negative moments, for the drinking, for the partying. You're gonna feel that, and that's what you just start doing out of habit. You're following their lead. So it's important to take charge and pay attention to who you surround yourself with. What do they bring? What's
Yeah.
their mind like? What's their values? And where are they going?
Yes. You talk a lot about on your podcast about not lowering yourself to meet somebody where they are down here,
Yes.
right? But welcoming them to rise to meet you.
Yes.
What does
And
that mean?
that's a tough lesson that I've had to learn. And it goes back to friendships, family, lovers, whatever. When you start this journey, you realize that people start falling off. And you want them to be in your life because you're like, you've been my friend for 8 years. You're my family, you know? You're my lover. You're the person I love. But you realize that you're moving at a faster pace. And because you love them, you want to bring them with you. But what you're doing is you're lowering yourself. It's like climbing a mountain. What if you're climbing the mountain and you got to keep going back for your friends? So you're doing more work. And their constant negativity, their constant limiting beliefs will keep you at the bottom, will keep you stuck. And you don't realize that until you're like, I'm in a hamster wheel. I'm repeating the same things. I'm not going anywhere. And it's because they have you stuck down there. So once you say, I love you, but I love myself more, that's when you start freeing yourself. And eventually, the people that want to be in your life will do the necessary work to catch up to you. And if not, that season has ended. But our ego wants to keep them around.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like that's what I've learned that people come and go into your life. But if you stay there wanting them to be there, just to say that they're there because of whatever years you have with them, you're just slowing your own growth. So that's a that's a choice that you're faced with. Am I gonna sink down to their level or am I gonna make them rise and meet me? And if they can't rise and meet you, then they have to go.
I think that's probably one of the hardest things about, awakening journeys or just doing the inner work, self-love journeys, all of the improving of your life journeys. The
Mhm.
hardest piece is that not everyone wants to go on this road with you.
No. I think it's much easier to stay asleep, Jenna. Like it's easier to stay in our comfort. It's easier to stay in our ego because when you're awakened, you have to constantly fight. There's gonna be so many obstacles, You think that, oh, just because you're awakened, that life is easy. No. Because then you have to start questioning everything and trying to understand and become better. It's like a daily choice. Like you literally have to wake up every single day and choose to look at things through a different lens. So when you allow people to keep pulling you under, you're gonna try to, it's like taking 25 steps forward and 30 back.
Mm,
Just because you want to be around people, just because, you want to be in comfort, but you don't grow in comfort. So they
it's
have to
true.
go.
What would you offer as advice to someone who knows that maybe they're not with the right person, or they're hanging on to the wrong friend, or, having gone through this yourself and on the opposite end?
I love saying there's 8 billion people, right? Because there's 8 billion people, and you think you won't find better. You think you won't find more friends. You think you won't find another person. There's 8 billion of us. And a lot of us rather settle. And we settle because we don't want to be alone. Because being alone means we have to face ourselves. We have to face our thoughts. And if I have you then that means I have some sort of company. And misery loves company, but you have to detach yourself. And there's nothing better for your growth than that season of isolation, that season where you get to know yourself. Because a lot of us really don't know ourselves. We don't know what we like because we're just programmed. We're watching a certain show because everybody else is watching it. We're doing this because everybody else is doing it. But who are you at your core when you're alone, when nobody's watching? What habits do you have? What makes you cry? What makes you really happy? A lot of people don't know that, but they rather stay in these miserable relationships, Jenna, instead of just saying, you know what? You carried me to where you needed to carry me. I love you for that. I'm glad I got to experience you, but there's more out there, and you'll find more. So don't settle.
I love that.
I wish little Joe knew that.
Well, she knows now.
Yes, so now we don't let that happen, but yes.
So, what else? Because you have, again, so much going on. You have a book coming out soon.
Yes, yes.
You have a collection of, are they memoirs? Are they journal entries? Tell me about this new offering that is in the works right now.
Yes. So it is a book of all the lessons of all the things I wish I had known. Again, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, that I wouldn't be here had I experienced all of that. But there are just some things, Jenna, that I really, really wish I had known and or I would have unlearned sooner. But it is memoir personal development style because I love a good story and I love a good a good lesson.
I'm excited for that. I cannot wait for that to come out.
Yes.
So, what would you like to leave the listeners with? Because there's been so much growth that's happened throughout your life, but essentially it all kind of narrows down to recreating this inner script
Yes.
that has set you on your purpose, living in your mission, authentic to you. So, number one, what do you feel your mission is? And what would you like to kind of leave with our listeners that they could add to their own inner script so that
Mhm.
they can live their missions too, their purpose?
Yes. I wholeheartedly believe that my mission is to heal and help others heal. I believe that it's not just in the big donation boxes, it's also in who I am. It's in smiling at strangers. It's in being kind. It's in fighting through my limiting beliefs and teaching others how to do the same. It's in the little moments, you know. Obviously, I want massive impact, Jenna.
And
I
you will
want,
get it. You
yes,
are magnetic. Like I said, I will scream that from the rooftops forever.
thank you. I want massive impact. I want to, how Jim Rohn says, live full and die empty. I literally want to give it all up. So I don't ever mind being vulnerable. I don't mind sharing what I've gone through. I don't care what people say. I don't care how people make fun of me. I will always share my stories if it means that I can even help one person. So I think that's my mission, and God just puts me in in situations where I'm like, this is podcast content. This is not for me, just so I can learn and teach. Um, I think that the biggest thing is knowing that, how I said, your soul is trying to speak to you. You have a compass. When you feel stuck, when you feel anxious, when you're feeling depressed, it is because you're not in alignment. And there's nothing wrong with negative emotions, but it's feeling it and knowing that you're meant for more. And the more that you wait, the more that you're stopping yourself. And do you want to go 15 years from now and regret not taking a chance because of whatever belief you bought into? The lies that you chose to believe about yourself and about the world. And what I would say is, you know what you came here to do. You're just telling yourself that you don't know. It's something that you're born with, and you go creating that every day. And the world does not benefit you from you playing small. There is nobody that's going to benefit from you hiding. You have so much to teach. And if you keep them to yourself, you you will just
It's
take that.
selfish.
Yeah, it is selfish. You're gonna take that to your grave. And unfortunately, that's where most dreams lie. They say that the richest place is a cemetery because it's filled with unwritten books, unwritten songs, unwritten dreams, all because people were scared to start. So why not put yourself out there? Why not create magic? Why not love others? Why not push past the fear and get to know real magic? The magic lies in opening up and letting people in, allowing yourself to be who you are, not being afraid of rejection because no matter what you do, people are going to judge you. I think that's one of my biggest takeaways or my biggest lesson to just be
Messages.
who you are. Give your magic away. Feel the magic in every moment. It's not just when you're traveling or doing big things. Isn't how you greet your favorite barista in the morning. It's, how you sit with yourself down. And I think, though, the biggest advice that I will give, that I'm a big advocate, is that it all starts with the self. Self-love starts with self, and it's how you treat yourself. And once you start treating yourself with love, with respect, you will see how the world changes because people are forced to treat you how you command. The reason why you're repeating negative things into your life is because that's what you choose to allow. But when you decide who you are, that the world can't tell you shit, people will start treating you accordingly.
Yes. Amen to
Yes.
everything you said.
Yes. Decide who you want to be and act on it. Literally every day because it's an everyday choice. It's who do you want to be today and act like that. And the world, again, has no other choice but to react to you.
It is the world is going to conspire
Yes, the world.
to make it happen for you. It is truth. You
Yes.
said that, and I love that you said that. Where you said you got it from the alchemy book, but
Yes.
that is the most powerful
Yes.
message for me, and it's true. And you will see it when you
Yes.
start implementing it.
I need you to pay attention. Once you set a goal, once you have a vision, you're going to see how you're going to start meeting people. You're going to start reading a book and it's going to tell you exactly what you need. You're going to be listening to a song and it's going to give you a message. Once you decide what you want out of life, life has no choice but to give it to you. And it might not come how you expect it. It's going to be better than what you imagine. So you have to stay open to receiving it in a different way. But literally, no matter what you ask for, you're going to receive it. So if you ask for negative things, if you believe in the negative, it's you're believing in something and it's going to come to you. But if you choose to believe that you're going to make it happen, that this is what you want, the universe is going to conspire in your favor.
I've seen it happen over and over and over
Yes.
again. It's truth. Oh, thank
Yes.
you so much for sharing this episode with me. Thank you for sharing your message, your voice, your wisdom.
Thank you for having me. This was so beautiful. I loved it.
This is an honor, please. What is the best way to get in touch with you if anyone wants to work with you or wants to learn more about you and your work?
I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube or obviously Apple, Apple Podcast and Spotify as Where Are Joe and the Curls?
Okay, so I'll make sure I link everything in the description.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to all the beautiful offerings you
Yes.
have
Come
coming
heal
up.
with me.
Yes. Thank you again, Josiely. You are magical.
So are you, Jenna. That's why we found each other.
It's true. It is true.
Thank you so much, Jenna, for having me. I love this.